Hello, Brad Shelke here at Conversations with Mormons. This is part 10 of Melting Meg's Heart. Why did I urge Meg to thank God for who Jesus is for her and model it to make sure she got it? Why didn't I just tell her she needed to become a Christian and then lead her in the sinner's prayer? That's what we'll explore today and next week. To grasp the transforming power of thankfulness for the work of Christ, we need to understand that there are two and only two ways to view life in the moral world. One is natural and unforced, while the other is manipulative and forced. Mormonism, by definition, is a manipulative approach to life because it's all about focusing on the good things you should do and then trying to do them. If you're a Christian, you may be wondering if you heard me right. Did I really say that it's manipulative to look at the good things God calls you to do and then try to do them? Yes, I really said that because that's not God's way. Once you grasp the difference between God's natural way of life and Satan's manipulative way, you'll begin to see the difference all over the Bible. You'll also see that as the titanic spiritual battle in your life. As you begin applying it, witnessing to Mormons will become natural and joyful. That difference is revealed in the simple distinction I heard over 40 years ago. What's the difference between trying to love and trusting to love? Mormons are intrigued by this question. They want to discuss it and wonder why they've never heard it before. James Denney, the great Scottish theologian, put it this way: "We all love independence and are slow to learn that that is not the fundamental law of our nature. Dependence is." He also quipped humorously that we are slow to know ourselves and sometimes do not want to. Do you want to know yourself and learn God's way of dependence, of trusting to love? That's what I invite Mormons, myself, and everyone else to do. Trying to do good is an impaired mindset that assumes that and trusts that you have the ability to do the good you want. That's Satan's way of independence. Since Paul says he doesn't have that ability, the rest of us should join him and trust God to do good through us. If you're a math geek, here's the equation for how it works. When I see you in a good way, I treat you in a good way. C.S. Lewis put it another way: God's law is the way the universe is. If you go against the grain of the universe, you should expect to get splinters. Dependence is God's way of right moral relationships centered on Jesus in his flawlessness and sin-bearing death. True righteousness is about God working through us. Independence is Satan's counterfeit way of self-centered relationships. It's nothing more than self-righteousness, which is about you trying to do good by self-effort. Impatience, judgmentalism, and self-condemnation are simply some of the splinters you get from going against the grain of God's righteousness by trying to be self-righteous. Haven't we all experienced these splinters? Let's start at the beginning. Did you become a Christian by trying or by trusting? You simply trusted God's love revealed at the cross and gave up trusting in your own faithfulness to do what's right. You abandoned your own righteousness and trusted Jesus as your righteousness. That's what you did, even if you were a kid and couldn't explain it. When you did that, you entered into God's way of trusting Jesus as your righteousness. I became a Christian in college. Right away, the man who first witnessed to me read with me Colossians 2:6-8 and helped me notice Paul's words that I became a Christian by trusting Christ's faithfulness, and that God called me to live every moment after that focused on Christ's faithfulness. He cautioned me to notice Paul's words about not getting tricked by the world to go back to focusing on my own faithfulness. He said that many who become Christians get tricked that way, and I needed to stay alert. I took his words with almost paranoid seriousness. 30 years later, I thanked him for those words as they became the key anchor in my life. He smiled and confessed that on the day he said that, he himself had already been tricked to go back and wouldn't realize it for 14 years. He was and still is a full-time Christian missionary. It's easy to get tricked. Christianity from beginning to end is about trusting to love, which is about God's effort. It's about seeing that what we need to do through flawlessness and sin-bearing death of Christ. That's what Christianity is, even if we get tricked to go back to trusting our own flawed faithfulness and then trying to do good. In contrast, Mormonism from beginning to end is about trying to love, which is self-effort. It's about seeing life through imperfect standards, not Christ. I jokingly tell people that we Christians are all closet Mormons and that we need to come out of the closet and declare boldly that our spiritual battle is between trying to be self-righteous and trusting Jesus as our righteousness. Next week, we'll get to the power of thankfulness by examining how all the religious words in a Mormon mindset have a manipulative meaning. Until then, please join me in thanking God for calling you to always see life through Jesus' faithfulness. Welcome to the conversation.